welcome back. We're on problem number 28 today. It says all the values in the equation below are exact. What value of C makes the equation true? And then it gives you this equation. So go ahead and pause your video now and work the problem. All right, so this one is asking for the value of C, and it's kind of tucked into this 10 to the power of a number. So this could get a little confusing. Here's how I would personally work it. I notice that it's this times this times this times this. It's just this time, it's just all multiplication here. There's no real addition or subtraction, which tells me that I can just divide at will. So I'm going to divide by 4.25, and I'm going to divide by 6, and I'm going to divide by 10 to the 7th on both sides, okay? Now this might look a little funky. You could just divide it by 4.25 and then divide it, but I'm doing it all kind of at once. Either way, the 4.25 is going to cancel, the 6 is going to cancel, the 10 to the 7 is going to cancel. So I can just use my calculator here and type in 255 divided by, now I'm going to use parentheses. Well, actually, I don't need parentheses, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. 4.25 times 6 times 10 to the power of 7. The little caret here is to the power of 7. Now, actually, I said there I didn't need parentheses, but I do if I'm going to use multiplication. If I did 255 divided by 4.25 divided by 6 divided by, I think it will come out just fine. And I'm going to double check that here. Divided by 4.25 divided by 6 divided by 10 to the power of 7. This should work actually. Whoa, I missed my divided by sign here. This should work out just fine, and it does. So anyway, okay, so 1e to the minus 6, right? That's 1 times 10 to the minus 6 power, which is 0.000001. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 decimal places over. So 5 zeros and a 1, okay? That is equal to 10 to the power of 2c plus 4, okay? Now, actually, when you, on your calculator, when you worked it out and you get this 1 times 10 to the negative 6th, I think that's the best way to think about it, because I have 10 to the power of 2c plus 4 is equal to 1 times 10 to the power of negative 6. Well, I don't need the times 1 there, because 1 times anything is itself. So I get 10 to the power of 2c plus 4 equals 10 to the power of negative 6. Well, that must mean the only way this would work is if 2c plus 4 and negative 6 were the same. So from there, I can actually set up a little equation, 2c plus 4 equals negative 6, and I can solve that from here. 2c equals negative 10, divided by 2, c is equal to negative 5. Okay, so h is our answer. Now, let's say you didn't quite get there. You got to this 1 times 10 to the negative 6 as a decimal maybe. That's fine. You could just use guess and check from there. So you could plug in values of c, and the only one that would work is negative 5. Or you could actually use a logarithm, and I feel like this is going to make a lot of people cringe, and that's okay. If this makes you cringe, don't worry about it. But when I get to 10 to the power of 2c plus 4 equals 0.00001, I can use what's called a logarithm, right? I spiral out of this logarithm. So log base 10, the first thing I come across in my spiral. And as I travel around, the next thing I come across is 0.00001. I need an extra zero in there, and that's equal to the third thing that I come across in my spiral. So as I spiral around, if you're not really familiar with logs, this might be a little crazy, and that's okay. But I can type this into my calculator. Log base 10 is just log. So on your calculator, when you see a log base 10, that's really just the log button. So I'm just going to type log of that number, and it gives me negative 6, which remember is kind of what I got when I was working that over there. So I get negative 6 is equal to 2c plus 4. Go ahead and solve that. We realize that c has to be negative 5. Okay. This is a little bit of a challenging problem for sure, but there's ways around it. Okay. Now, this is a cool way to work this. If you're really, really against all those things that I just did, we could definitely solve this using our calculator by graphing the left side and graphing the right side. Remember, if you graph the left side and graph the right side, you're going to have the solution to an equation. I'm trying to get rid of these things, but it's not going to happen. So I'm just going to scratch that. Here's how it works. My equation says 4.25 times 10 to the 2c plus 4 times, it's this big old long thing. Okay, so if I go to my y equals and I type in this big crazy long thing, 4.25, I better insert my parentheses. Remember, second delete is insert. It will insert things to the left of where you need them. So put the cursor where you need it, it will insert to the left. Times 10 to the power of, and here's where we get this 2c, but we're going to use x, 2x plus 4. Okay, and then times, so parentheses, 6 times 10 to the power of 7. This thing is already looking insanely crazy, right? But it doesn't matter. The calculator doesn't care. If you graph the left side and then you graph the right side is 255, and I just hit graph. Now my zoom's messed up, so zoom 6 will get me back to regular zoom. Here's my first, here's my second. Doesn't even matter, right? I can look at my table if you want, and I'm looking for the same value. So that doesn't look like much there. I'm looking for the same number. Oh, there we go, -5, okay? Again, what this is doing is we want to find the same values for y on both of them. So see how both of these y values are the same? That x coordinate there is my solution, if I can find it, okay? Now, let's say we didn't look at the table. Let's say we were just looking at the graph. Remember the keystrokes? Second, calculate, number 5, and then enter, 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 and it's going to spit out a -5. Okay? Again, this is a really, really good way to solve this, actually. This might be my favorite way to solve it now that I'm thinking about it. Graph the left side, graph the right side, find the intersection. That's how you solve any equation with one variable in the ACT. Okay? All right, that was a crazy one, but it's definitely doable. I would take all those strategies we talked about today, pick one that you like, and stick with that. I wouldn't try to worry too much about all the different ways to do it. Just find the way that you feel best about and stick with that, okay? All right, guys, thanks again for watching. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and as always, you can get in touch with us via our website, tutoring-solutions.com. And we'll talk to you tomorrow.